Hi, I'm Jane, and this cute guy's name is Willie. My parents were talented oceanographers, and we lived by the ocean. That's why I'd loved swimming with dolphins ever since I was a kid. However, this story began before I was even born. Let me start from the beginning, and don't forget to press like. My parents had 3 daughters. My older sister, Holly, was born first. Mom and Dad adored her. She was their whole world until Grace was born. After that, she became their favorite, and Holly no longer got as much of their attention. Of course, she didn't like that. Holly's relationship with our parents got worse. A couple of years after that, I was born and quickly became the favorite child simply because I was the youngest. Obviously, that annoyed my older sisters.
Who has the pinkest cheeks? Who is our treasure? It's you, Jane.
A treasure in smelly diapers. Holly constantly fought with our parents and despised Grace and me. Over the years, things only got worse. Mom and Dad often went on business trips and asked Holly to look after us, but she just snorted and rolled her eyes. Am I just a free babysitter for you? I hate this house. I can't wait to move out. When Holly turned 18, her dream came true. She packed up and moved to the city. We didn't hear from her for several years. She refused to keep in touch with anyone from our family. Well, whatever. I didn't miss her. At least no one at home was shouting anymore. I turned 15 and Grace 17. I was enjoying my life. When I had free time, I would swim with dolphins and bask in the sun. Mom and Dad were my best friends and always inspired me. I was going to follow in their footsteps and become an oceanographer. Sometimes, they even brought me along on their expeditions. Grace and I fought like cats and dogs. I guess she was jealous of my special bond with our parents. After all, her relationship with Mom and Dad wasn't as great as it used to be. They did not like Grace's friends, and they fought because of that all the time.
They will get you into trouble. I forbid you from talking to them.
They are human rights activists. They fight against ocean pollution.
Yeah, right. They throw parties on the beach and leave a ton of garbage there. Don't argue with us and go to your room.
You never tell Jane what to do. Things went on that way. What happened next divided my life into before and after. One morning, our parents were leaving on a small trip when Grace came up to them and said she wanted to go with her friends to a party on a remote island.
No way. It's too dangerous. There is no connection on that island. If something happened to you, you wouldn't even be able to call for help.
My sister got mad and ran out of the house. Mom and Dad searched for her for a long time, but eventually they had to leave. I had a bad feeling and asked to come with them.
Jane, you should stay at home and wait for your sister here. We'll be back in a couple of days.
They hugged me and left. An hour later, Grace came home. Where the hell have you been? Mom and Dad were worried out of their minds. Leave me alone. It's none of your business. We had a huge fight and didn't talk for several days. Soon, Officer Adams knocked on our door. He was a policeman and a friend of our family.
Girls, sit down. I have bad news for you.
He said that during the expedition, our parents went missing. There was little chance of finding them, but they were doing everything they could. Oh God, my blood ran cold. I wish it was just a nightmare. Unfortunately, it was all real. Then, the policeman asked us about the day we saw our parents for the last time. I told him the truth. However, Grace was very nervous and seemed to be hiding something. Almost a week went by, but our parents were nowhere to be found. Grace and I didn't know what to do. We were afraid that we would have to go to an orphanage before our parents came back. But then one day, Holly suddenly came over. She had apparently got a visit from a policeman as well. We hadn't seen her in years. Girls, I know that you must be in shock, but now I'm here to take care of you. She said that she had taken custody of us, and we had to do everything she said. I wasn't thrilled. After all, Holly was the worst big sister in the world. As a kid, she used to fight with everyone and took her anger out on us. However, it was better than going to an orphanage. Besides, I believed with my whole heart that our parents would be found soon, and we wouldn't have to put up with Holly for long. She immediately started to boss us around. For some reason, she picked on me the most. She followed me like some kind of warden and forbade me from everything. Wait, where are you going? Swimming with Willie? Who is Willie? My friend. He's a dolphin. If you were at home more often, you would know that I'm going to become an oceanographer. You can forget about your stupid dream. I forbid you from swimming in the ocean. You wouldn't dare. If you keep arguing with me, I will tie you to myself and you will always be supervised. Ugh, I was so sick of that psycho. I even had a dream that Holly had braided our hair together so that Grace and I would always be on a leash. I missed my parents terribly. I waited every day for them to come back. I dusted their room and took care of Mom's flowers. But for some reason, Holly seemed to be on edge whenever she saw that. Mom, Dad, where are you? I miss you. Are you here again? Go do something useful. Quit ordering me around. I hope our parents will come back soon and you will disappear from our lives. Everything Holly did annoyed me. I lost my temper if she used Mom's perfume or sat in Dad's chair at the head of the table. My sister seemed to be trying to take their place. When I found out that she took our parents' clothes out of the closets and put them in the attic, I went ballistic. I ran into the kitchen and started yelling at her. "This isn't your home! I wish you hadn't come here at all!" "That's it. I'm tired of you, you little brat. Go to your room. You're getting no dinner tonight." Living with that wacko was getting harder by the day. I was at the end of my rope. But then, things got worse. At some point, Holly started selling off our stuff. Dad's car, Mom's jewelry. That's when I realized my sister wasn't there for Grace and me, but for our parents' money. That lying con artist. I tried to figure out how to expose her lies. I didn't know who to go to for help. After all, Grace was always hanging out with her friends and acting like the problems at home did not concern her. I was on my own. The first thing I decided to do was rummage through Holly's things to find out more about her insidious plans. However, before I could do that, Holly walked into the room. She was chatting with someone on the phone. I quickly hid in the closet. Okay, let's hear what the Queen of Lies was hiding. "I've already sold everything I can, but I still don't have enough money. Do we really have to sell the house as well?" I knew all she cared about was money. I swear, there was smoke coming out of my ears. I barely held back from attacking Holly. I told myself to take a deep breath. Of course, sooner or later, I'll tell my sisters about everything. But they don't need to know anything yet. With those words, she left the room and I got out of my hiding place. We couldn't let her sell our house, but I couldn't stop her by myself. So I asked Grace for help. I told her everything. However, it was like she didn't even care. "Do whatever you want. I'm going to a party with my friends tonight." "What's wrong with you? Our parents are missing. Holly is going to sell our house, but all you think about is partying." "Oh, give me a break. What, are you upset Mom and Dad aren't here to praise you for everything?" My sisters had always been jealous of my friendship with our parents. That's probably why they were acting like spoiled witches. I would show them I had grown up and could stand up for myself. As soon as Grace left the room, I spilled syrup on the dress she was going to wear to the party. Take that! My sister would have to stay at home and help me deal with Holly. And then I heard voices in the hallway. I looked out and saw that Holly was showing the house to potential buyers. Wow, she wasted no time. I wasn't about to just stand by. I ran into the living room, tore off the wallpaper, and poured water from the vase onto the floor. When the buyers and my sister walked into the room, I innocently pointed at the puddle and said that the ceiling was leaking. "It's so damp here, the wallpaper's peeling off. See?" Ha ha! The visitors ran away like they were trying to win a marathon. Holly's eyes turned red with anger. "You're going to pay for this." Before I could open my mouth, Grace came running to the living room. She was shaking her ruined dress in the air and screaming like a madwoman. "I know it's your doing, Jane. Are you nuts?" They started shouting at me together. "What are you gonna do, huh? Tie me up so that I don't interfere with your plans? You're both so selfish." Having said that, I ran to my room. I felt like I was all alone in the whole world. That evening, I wanted to wipe the dust in my parents' room as usual when I found Grace sobbing in their bed. "Are you okay?" My sister said she was trying her best to act strong, but she missed our parents like crazy. "I hang out with my friends because otherwise I'd just cry all day long. Jane, I need to tell you something. I think it's my fault our parents are missing." She told me that the day our parents went missing, she'd fought with them because they wouldn't let her go to a party on an island. She hid in our backyard and texted them she was going anyway. What if Mom and Dad went looking for me? I should have told you about it earlier, but I was so ashamed and scared. Wow, no wonder it seemed like my sister was hiding something. That changed everything. Could our parents be waiting for rescue on the island? The police were looking for them in the wrong place then. I called Officer Adams and told him about our suspicions. However, his reaction surprised me. "Jane, you should talk to Holly." "Huh, right. That liar didn't care if our parents came back or not. I decided that I would save them by myself. I asked Grace to distract Holly and ran to the pier. The weather was terrible and the waves were as high as houses because of the strong wind. However, nothing could stop me. I jumped into a boat on the beach and sailed toward the island. "Mom, Dad, I'm coming." However, at some point, a giant wave overturned the boat and I ended up in the water. I didn't know which way to swim and started panicking. But what happened now? Then I felt someone grab my arm and pull me somewhere. It was Holly. She dragged me onto the boat and started to scold me while I coughed. "Are you a complete moron? Why would you get on a boat in such weather? I told you to stay away from the ocean because I was afraid you would end up like our parents." While she was screaming, we swam back to the pier. Grace was already waiting for us there. "I'm sorry, Jane. I told Holly where you went, and she ran here to save you." I wasn't angry, though. All I could think of was that we should get to the island. "We need to save Dad and Mom! Come on, we'll get there by boat in no time!" "Girls, listen. Our parents never went to that island. Their bodies were already found. Unfortunately, they died during the expedition. What? No! No! Holly was lying! It couldn't be true! Officer Adams told me to tell you the truth. But, Jane, you were looking forward to our parents' return so much, I couldn't bear to break your heart. It turned out Holly had been talking to the policeman when I overheard her conversation. I still couldn't quite believe it. Why did you sell all their stuff then? Mom and Dad had a lot of debt because they invested in the construction of a dolphinarium. I tried to deal with it. I'm sorry I was so overbearing. I was just really worried about you. Maybe I'm not a perfect big sister, but I gave up everything and came back home to be with you in this difficult time. I didn't know what to say. Tears streamed down my face. My sisters burst into tears after me. We lost our parents and felt lost. However, that tragedy brought us together. What matters is we have each other. Together, we can overcome anything. Holly, Grace, and I hugged for a long time. I knew things would be fine. Sooner or later, the rain would stop and the sun would come out from behind the clouds again. After that, we became friends. However, we had to put our house up for sale to pay off our parents' debt. One day, Holly went to a store when a gorgeous limo drove up to our house, and a handsome guy holding a huge bouquet got out of it. He introduced himself as Stuart, and he said he was looking for Holly. She'll be back soon. Are you her friend? I'm her fiancé. Ex-fiancé. I proposed to your sister and told her she wouldn't need for anything because I'm very rich. But Holly found out that your parents were missing and said she would only marry me if I agreed to raise you with her. I was against it, so Holly left me and came here to take care of you. I soon realized what a jerk I was. Wow, I called Holly selfish, but she sacrificed everything for Grace and me. At that moment, my sister returned home. She lost her temper when she saw her ex-fiancé. What are you doing here? Holly, let's start over. Marry me, and let's raise your sisters together. Holly didn't want to forgive Stuart, but Grace and I convinced her that he was genuinely sorry, so she agreed to give him a second chance. Soon, they got married. Stuart made sure the dolphinarium was built and helped us pay off all our debts. We are going to continue in our parents' footsteps. I have a place where I can swim with Willie now. Grace, Holly, and I have been through a lot. We haven't always had a perfect relationship, but what matters is that now we have become a real family. I'm sure our parents would be proud of us. What do you think? Write your opinion in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit that like button.